They call me Marcus, just Marcus. In a city like Chicago, a guy like me doesn't get a last name. I'm just a silhouette in a worn-out hoodie, a pair of broad shoulders taking up too much space on the sidewalk, a face that makes women clutch their purses a little tighter when I step onto the subway. I'm 6'3" with skin the color of deep espresso, and in the eyes of the people who live in the high-rises I deliver to, that doesn't mean protector. It means threat. It means trouble. It means I don't belong. But to the tiny, fragile bundle strapped to my chest in a frayed, second-hand carrier, I am the entire universe. Her name is Maya. She isn't mine by blood, not entirely. My sister Tasha left her in my arms just before she passed, a victim of a healthcare system that didn't listen to women from our zip code until it was too late. Maya has skin lighter than mine, loose curls that bounce when she giggles, and a birthmark on her neck shaped exactly like a crescent moon. I didn't know who the father was. Tasha never said. She just said he was from a different world, a world where people like us were invisible. I was working 3 jobs just to keep the heat on for her. During the day, I moved furniture. At night, I washed dishes. And in between, I ran food deliveries for the app services, sprinting through rain and snow to drop off $50 salads to people who wouldn't even look me in the eye. It was a Tuesday when the universe decided to shatter my life. It was pouring rain, the kind of cold, stinging rain that seeps right into your bones. I had a massive order for the Vance estate. I knew the name. Everyone in Chicago knew the name Vance. They owned the skyline. I pulled up to the gate on my rusted bike, soaked to the skin, shielding Maya with my windbreaker. The guard looked at me like I was trying to break in, but he let me through. The driveway was a mile long, lined with cars that cost more than my entire apartment building. I walked up to the main doors, shivering, just wanting to drop the bags and get Maya back into the dry warmth of a bus station. Suddenly, a black limousine screeched to a halt right in front of me. The back door flew open, and an older woman stepped out. She was dripping in pearls and fur, her face pinched tight with a lifetime of looking down on people. She ignored me completely, barking orders at a driver, until Maya let out a small, sleepy sneeze. The woman froze. She turned her head slowly, her eyes scanning me with disgust before landing on the baby. She gasped. She didn't look at Maya's face. She looked at her neck. That crescent moon birthmark was peeking out from the blanket. "That mark," she whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of horror and recognition. "The crescent of the Vance line." Before I could even take a step back, she screamed. "Security, seize him, he has the child." 2 men the size of linebackers swarmed me instantly. One grabbed my arm, twisting it behind my back so hard I felt the shoulder pop. The other reached for Maya. "Don't touch her," I roared, struggling against them. "I'm her father, back off." The old woman marched up to me, her face inches from mine. She smelled like expensive perfume and rot. "You," she laughed, a dry, cruel sound. "Look at you, you are filth. You look like you crawled out of a sewer. There is no way a child of noble blood came from stock like you. You stole her. You kidnapped her. Drag him inside." They hauled me into the foyer of the mansion. It was a cavern of white marble and gold leaf, a place so clean I felt dirty just standing in it. They threw me onto the floor. I curled around Maya, shielding her head as she started to wail. Then he walked in, Ethan Vance, the CEO, the prince of the city. He looked like a statue carved from ice, impeccable suit, sharp jawline, eyes devoid of warmth. And right there on his neck, barely visible above his crisp white collar, was the same crescent moon birthmark. He looked at the crying baby. He looked at the mark. He looked at me. "Get the test," he said. His voice was deep, commanding, and completely empty of emotion. They pinned me down while a doctor swabbed Maya's cheek. The results were digital and instant. 99.99% match. Maya was his. A drunken night years ago with my sister, a night he barely remembered, a mistake he had erased from his mind. But here was the proof, crying in the arms of a soaking wet black man on his Persian rug. "She stays," Ethan said, turning away. "The child is a Vance. She belongs here." "Excuse me," I scrambled to my feet, ignoring the guards. "She is not a piece of furniture you can just acquire. I have raised her since the minute she was born. I fed her, I clothed her, I held her when she cried. I am her father in every way that matters." Ethan turned back, his eyes cold. "You have no money. You have no home suitable for her. You are the maternal uncle. Legally, you have a claim, but I have the best lawyers in the world. I will crush you in court. You will never see her again." Or he paused, looking me up and down. "Maya screams when you leave. She needs a transition. You can stay as help, a live-in caretaker. You will live in the servants' quarters. You will be invisible, and you will hand her over to us when she is ready." I swallowed my pride. I swallowed the rage that tasted like copper in my mouth. "Fine," I said. "For Maya, I'll do anything." That was the moment the real nightmare began, because Ethan wasn't the problem. The problem walked in through the double doors a moment later. Her name was Veronica, Ethan's fiancée. She was beautiful in a plastic manufactured way, her hair blonde and perfectly coiffed, her skin stretched tight over high cheekbones, but her face was twisted into a permanent sneer, as if she smelled something rotting. She stopped when she saw me. She didn't look at my face. She looked at my worn-out sneakers. She looked at my hoodie. She looked at my skin. "Ethan, honey," she crooned, her voice high and nasal, grating on my nerves like sandpaper. "You can't be serious. Who is this creature? Why is it dripping on the floor?" Ethan explained the situation briefly. Veronica's eyes went wide, not with wonder but with revulsion. A child with a street woman, and this is the uncle. She walked up to me, circling me like a shark. She waved a hand in front of her nose. He smells like grease and desperation. "Ethan, you cannot have this man in our house. Think of the optics. He looks like a thug. He looks like he's casing the joint. Look at his hair. It's unkempt. It's wild. People like him don't raise heirs, Ethan. They raise inmates." My hands balled into fists at my sides. "I keep my hair neat," I said, my voice low, "and I work for a living, something you wouldn't know about." Veronica gasped, clutching her pearls. "Did it just speak to me?" "Ethan, the help is talking back. It's aggressive, see? It's in their nature. Violence and noise, that's all they know." Ethan held up a hand. "He stays, Veronica. For now, but he knows his place." Veronica narrowed her eyes at me, a smile creeping onto her lips that was more terrifying than her shouting. "Fine. If he stays, he works. If he wants to be near the child, he earns his keep, and I will make sure he learns exactly where he belongs in the food chain, which is at the bottom." Living in the Vance mansion was like living in a golden cage where the bars were made of racism and relentless, grinding humiliation. They put me in a uniform that was 2 sizes too small, tight across my shoulders and chest, making me look ridiculous, like a giant stuffed into a doll's clothes. I knew Veronica did it on purpose. She wanted me to look like a brute. She wanted me to look uncomfortable. I slept in a small room in the basement next to the boiler, while Maya slept in a nursery filled with toys she didn't know how to use. Every day was a battle. Veronica made it her mission to break me. It started small. She would wait until I had just mopped the hallway floors, then she would walk in with her muddy riding boots, tracking dirt everywhere while locking eyes with me. "Oops," she would say, smirking. "Mr. Spot, Marcus. Better get down on your knees and scrub it. It's what you're built for, isn't it? Manual labor. Your broad back is good for nothing else." I bit my tongue. I scrubbed. For Maya, I took it. One afternoon, I was feeding Maya in the kitchen. Veronica walked in with her entourage, 3 other socialites who looked exactly like her, carbon copies of Prejudice wrapped in designer silk. They stopped and stared at me like I was an exhibit at a zoo. "Is that him?" one of them whispered loudly. The stray Ethan picked up. "Tragic, really," Veronica sighed, pouring herself a glass of water while I struggled to juggle the baby and the bottle. "Ethan is too charitable. He lets this street trash handle the future heiress. I'm constantly worried he's going to steal the silverware, or worse, infect her with some ghetto habits. You know how they are, no hygiene, no morals, they just breed and beg." I slammed the bottle down on the counter. The noise made them jump. "I am right here, Veronica," I said, my voice steady but shaking with suppressed rage. "You can insult me all you want. But you talk about my family, you talk about how I raised this girl, and we're going to have a problem." Veronica stepped closer, invading my personal space. She poked a manicured finger into my chest. "Or what?" she hissed. "You'll hit me? Go ahead, do it. Prove me right. Show Ethan the violent animal you really are. Strike a woman. It's what your father probably did, isn't it? If you even knew who he was." My blood boiled. It roared in my ears. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tear the house down. But I saw Maya watching me with big, innocent eyes. I couldn't lose her. I took a breath. I stepped back. "I'm not violent," I said quietly. "I'm just a father." Veronica laughed, a cruel, tinkling sound. "You, a father? You're a babysitter, Marcus. A temporary inconvenience. And soon you'll be back in the gutter where you belong." The turning point came 2 weeks later. It was the middle of the night. I woke up because I felt it, a connection, a pull. I ran upstairs to the nursery, ignoring the rules about staying in the basement. Maya was turning blue. She was gasping for air, her little chest heaving. It was her heart. Tasha had a murmur, but this was worse. I grabbed her, screaming for help. Ethan met me in the hallway. He was wearing silk pajamas, looking confused. When he saw Maya, the confusion vanished. He saw the terror in my face, not the face of a thug, but the face of a man watching his heart stop beating. We rushed to the hospital in his sports car. I held Maya in the back, whispering to her, praying to a God I hadn't spoken to in years. Veronica met us there an hour later. She walked into the waiting room not looking worried but annoyed. She was checking her watch. "Ethan, we have the gala tonight," she whined, ignoring the fact that I was weeping in the corner. "Can't the help deal with this? It's probably just a cold. These people overreact to everything to get attention. It's a scam, honey. He just wants money for medicine she doesn't need. She's not breathing right, Veronica, I snapped, standing up, my towering height finally making her flinch. She is dying, don't you yell at me, boy, she hissed, her eyes narrowing. You probably fed her something rotten. Garbage in, garbage out. That's what happens when you let low-class people touch quality things. Ethan stood up. He towered over her. Quiet, he said. The single word was like a gunshot. Veronica blinked. Excuse me, I said, be quiet. Ethan growled. That is my daughter. And if you say one more word about Marcus, you will leave. The doctor burst through the doors. She needs a transfusion, he said urgently. Rare blood type. We don't have enough on hand. Who is the father? Take mine, Ethan said immediately. And mine, I said, rolling up the sleeve of my hoodie. I'm her uncle. We match. I know we match. We lay side by side in the donation room, the blood flowing from our veins to save the little girl we both loved. Ethan looked at me, really looked at me. For the first time, he didn't see a uniform. He didn't see a stereotype. He saw the calluses on my hands from years of working. He saw the scars on my arms from moving furniture. He saw the tears in my eyes. You really love her, he said softly. She's my life, I whispered, staring at the ceiling. I don't care about your money, Ethan. I don't care about this mansion. I just want her to breathe. If I have to walk away to save her, I will, but don't let that woman raise her. Please, Veronica will destroy her spirit. Ethan didn't answer, but I saw something shift in his eyes, a crack in the ice. When we got back to the mansion, things changed. Ethan stopped looking at me like a servant. He started asking my opinion on Maya's schedule. He watched me make her laugh, a soft smile playing on his lips. He saw that Maya didn't care about his money, she cared about my arms. And Veronica saw it too, and she hated it. She hated that Ethan was listening to me. She hated that I was becoming human in his eyes. So she escalated. The annual Vance Global Economic Summit was approaching. It was the biggest event of the year. Ethan was stressed, burying himself in paperwork in his study. Veronica was useless, only caring about what dress she would wear and demanding I iron it for her. One night I was cleaning the study because Veronica insisted the maids shouldn't trust me, so she made me do it to keep an eye on me. I saw Ethan's speech on the desk. I glanced at it. It was dry, boring. It was full of corporate buzzwords that meant nothing. It was talking about urban expansion without understanding the people who actually lived in the city. I couldn't help myself. I took a pencil. I made notes in the margins. I didn't have a degree. I had to drop out to raise Maya, but I read everything. I knew the streets. I knew how people spent money when they only had $10 to their name. I crossed out paragraphs. I added insights about distribution logistics that only a delivery driver would know. The next morning, Ethan stormed into the kitchen. Veronica was there, eating a grapefruit and glaring at me while I scrubbed the sink. Who touched my speech? Ethan demanded, holding the papers. Veronica pointed a finger at me instantly. It was him. I saw him lurking in there. Marcus, what did you steal? Did you spill coffee on it, you clumsy oaf? I told you he couldn't be trusted around important things. Ethan walked up to me. He looked intense. Did you write this? I swallowed hard, wiping my wet hands on my pants. I just made some suggestions, I stammered, bracing for him to fire me. It was too technical. You weren't connecting with the working class demographic. You were talking down to them. Veronica laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Listen to him. Demographic. Did you learn that word on Sesame Street? Ethan, fire him. He defaced your property with his illiterate scribbles. He probably drew cartoons in the margins. These notes are brilliant, Ethan said, staring at me. They solve the distribution problem I've been stuck on for a month. Veronica's jaw dropped. What? He's a delivery boy, Ethan. He's uneducated filth. He barely finished high school. He's smart, Ethan said, looking at me with a new intensity. Smarter than half the board of directors. Get cleaned up, Marcus. You're coming to the summit. Veronica shrieked. Him? In public? With us? Ethan, look at him. He's too dark. He's too big. He'll scare the investors. People will think you hired a bodyguard who doesn't know his place. He stands out, Ethan. He doesn't blend. He is an eyesore. I said he's coming, Ethan said firmly, and get him a suit. A real one, not the uniform. The summit was a battlefield. I walked in wearing a tailored navy suit that Ethan bought for me. For the first time in my life, I looked like I belonged in the room. I felt powerful, but I could feel the eyes, the judgment. The security guards at the door double-checked my badge while waving everyone else through. Veronica was there, clinging to Ethan's arm, whispering poison into the ears of the board members. That's the nanny, I heard her hiss to an investor. Can you believe it? Ethan is running a charity for the unemployable. Watch your wallets around him. Keep your distance. He looks like he's about to rob the place. During the Q&A session, a rival CEO, one of Veronica's friends, tried to humiliate Ethan. He asked a complex question about supply chain logistics in urban areas, knowing it was a weak spot for a billionaire who had never set foot in a bodega. Ethan froze for a second. He looked at me. He nodded. I stepped up to the microphone. The room went silent. I could hear Veronica gasp. "Oh my God, get him off the stage. This is humiliating. He's going to mumble something about basketball." "Actually," I said, my voice deep and steady, echoing through the hall, "the issue isn't logistics, it's trust." I broke it down. I used my experience. I spoke with passion and intelligence. I didn't use buzzwords, I used reality. I talked about the neighborhoods they ignored. I talked about the people they refused to see. When I finished, there was a beat of silence. Then applause, thunderous applause. People stood up. Ethan looked at me with pride, pure, unadulterated pride. But Veronica, she looked like she wanted to kill me. She looked at me with a hatred so pure it was almost impressive. The final blow came at the post-summit family dinner. It was supposed to be a celebration, but Veronica had stacked the deck. She invited her entire family, a clan of old money bigots who looked at me like I was a cockroach on their wedding cake. We sat at a long table covered in crystal and silver. Veronica placed me at the far end, near the kitchen door, isolating me from the conversation. So Veronica's father sneered, swirling his brandy. "I hear you're the unk. Tell me, boy, what corner were you working before you scammed your way into this house?" I clenched my jaw. "I was a logistics coordinator," I said calmly. "A delivery boy," Veronica corrected loudly, laughing. "He brought food to people who actually matter." The table erupted in laughter. They mocked my job. They mocked my clothes. They mocked the way I held my fork. "You know," Veronica said, her eyes glinting with malice, "there's a tradition in our family. The help usually entertains us. Why don't you dance for us, Marcus, or rap? Isn't that what your people do? Give us a show. Show us that rhythm everyone talks about." The room went deadly silent. Ethan dropped his fork. It clattered loudly against the china. "Veronica," Ethan said, his voice low and dangerous. "What?" She giggled, drunk on power and wine. "I'm just asking him to play to his strengths. Come on, Marcus, show us some of that street culture. Or maybe you should just go out back and eat with the dogs. You'd feel more at home, wouldn't you? You're just a stray dog we let in to keep the baby warm. Actually, the dogs have better pedigree. At least we know who their fathers are." She picked up a plate of scraps, bones and gristle meant for the trash, and slid it down the long table toward me. It spun and stopped right in front of my chest. "Eat up," she hissed. "Know your place. Your face tells your worth, Marcus. And right now, you're worth less than the dirt on my shoe." I looked at the plate. I looked at her. I stood up slowly. I wasn't the scared delivery guy anymore. I was the father of the heir. I was the man who saved the company presentation. I looked at Ethan. He was shaking. "My place," I said, my voice shaking with suppressed rage, "is right here. Raising the child you are too selfish to love. You talk about class. You talk about breeding. You have money, Veronica, but you have no soul. You are rot wrapped in silk. You think you are superior because of your skin, because of your bank account. I look at you, and I see nothing but ugliness. I see a woman so insecure she has to bully a man who has nothing just to feel tall. How dare you," she screamed, standing up. "Security, get this end." She stopped herself just before saying the slur, but everyone heard the hard consonant at the start. "Get this animal out of my house." Ethan stood up. He didn't just stand, he exploded from his chair. He grabbed the wine glass in front of him and smashed it against the wall. The sound of shattering glass silenced the room. "Get out," Ethan roared. He turned to Veronica. "Get out of my house. Get out of my company. Get out of my life." Veronica froze, her face pale. "Ethan," she cried, suddenly terrified. "I was joking. I was just putting him in his place. It was a joke. Can't you take a joke?" "His place is by my side," Ethan said, walking over to me. He stood next to me, shoulder to shoulder. "He is the only real parent Maya has. He is the smartest man in this room, and he has more dignity in his little finger than you have in your entire bloodline." Ethan looked at the table of shocked guests. "Anyone who agrees with her can leave. Now, I am done with this bigotry. I am done with this hatred. If you have a problem with Marcus, you have a problem with me." Veronica's father sputtered. "You're choosing this man over us, over the merger, over your own kind." "I'm choosing family," Ethan said. He looked at me and for the first time his hand brushed mine. "Real family." Veronica was dragged out by the very security guards she tried to sick on me. She was screaming, cursing, calling me every name in the book. "He's trash. He's dirt. You'll regret this, Ethan. He'll rob you blind. He's manipulating you with voodoo." Her voice faded as the doors slammed shut. Later that night, the house was quiet. The toxic energy was gone. I was in the nursery watching Maya sleep. The moon, the real crescent moon, shone through the window. The door creaked open. Ethan walked in. He had loosened his tie. He looked tired but happy. "I'm sorry," he said, "for everything. for how I treated you in the beginning, for letting it go on this long. You were protecting yours, I said, I get it. No, Ethan stepped closer. The air between us changed. It wasn't boss and employee anymore. I was blind, but I see you now, Marcus. I really see you. You are the strongest man I have ever met. You took everything she threw at you and you never broke. You did it for Maya. He reached out and touched the collar of my shirt, the shirt he bought me. You didn't just save the presentation today. You saved me from a miserable life with that woman. She was a piece of work, I chuckled softly. She was a monster, Ethan corrected. He looked down at Maya, then back at me. Maya needs her father. Both of them, both, I asked, my breath catching in my throat. I can't do this without you, Ethan whispered. I don't want to. I don't want you to be the help. I want you to be my partner in everything. He leaned in. It was slow, a question asked in the silence. I didn't pull away. When his lips brushed mine, it didn't feel like a billionaire kissing a poor man. It felt like two broken pieces finally snapping together. It felt like the rain had finally stopped. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. The world would still judge. People like Veronica would still whisper. But as I stood there in the moonlight, holding the hand of the man who ruled the city, watching our daughter sleep, I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't invisible anymore. I wasn't just a shadow on the sidewalk. I was Marcus Vance, and I was finally home.
If you really like our video that CEO and billionaire pretend to be broke, so please like, share and subscribe.